out by saying that, once again, I'm here to tell you that this very obviously was going to happen.
Ven, a mí no me van a llevar, yo no estoy haciendo nada. Yo no estoy haciendo nada. Pero no me vas a tocar. No me vas a tocar. Déjame. Yo no estoy haciendo nada. Move out the way. Yo no estoy haciendo nada. Haga, por favor. Move out the way. Move out the way.
So a migrant getting kicked out of a hotel in Yonkers, you're probably thinking to yourself, what do you mean that you told me this was going to happen? Well, when you actually dive into the story itself and see exactly what the hell was going on here, then you will definitely see that what I've been saying for a while obviously was going to happen. So you think about this, you look at it and you're like, okay, we're not surprised by this. Obviously somebody was like disorderly, unruly, and they got removed from the hotel. However, like I said, it's not as simple as you think. This take, I thought, was not going to be that lengthy, but the more and more I kept digging into this and seeing how it was that it made national news on Fox, at least on Fox and Friends, I did some more digging into this situation, and this situation is actually a lot worse than you might would suspect. But then again, at the same time, given our current open border policy and given the fact that the Biden administration wants to keep bringing people in from all over the place, I don't think it should surprise you that once again, we have another person who, quite frankly, should not be here. But let's get to the story.
This week, accused of being violent with staff members.
But as CBS 2's Jennifer Bisram reports, some migrants claim that things are being stolen from their rooms by security.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling bad.
22-year-old Albany Argate is a mother of two and migrant from Venezuela who's been living at this emergency shelter in Yonkers since she arrived in New York in September.
$600.
She tells CBS 2 during random room checks at the Ramada Inn on Tuckahoe Road, her money and electronics were stolen, and she's not the only one. Kent Arnal, a migrant from Venezuela also living at the shelter, was arrested Tuesday for disorderly conduct.
There's a guy unruly. He's getting very violent with everybody. He's throwing stuff at everybody.
It happened after a dispute between migrants and staff. Police body cam video shows Arnal pulling away from officers and this woman blocking the police car door. Police say at one point she attempted to strike officers. She too was arrested. Arnal says he acted out because he's fed up with his rights being violated.
They enter our rooms without knocking. They enter, search through our personal belongings when we aren't there, our money and jewelry.
I would be inclined to agree with you about the hotel workers entering the rooms. I would be inclined to agree with that. But the thing about hotel workers is this here. I want to say that some institutions will actually allow that if they do believe that there's some suspicious activity going on. You're also going to see here very, very shortly this issue with the security guard, which I did bring up earlier, which I'm probably going to bring up after that clip is played, because not a whole lot of detail has been released on the security guard and the knife situation, but still at the same time, though, yeah, it just looks that the more and more you dig into the situation, you find out that, okay, you got a girl who got robbed of $600, what she's saying. You're finding out that people who are staying at the hotel are complaining about the migrants making too much noise. I'm a little bit baffled how that happened, but still, the complaints are obviously still being filed. It's also possible that management here could have also told the actual workers to go in there and go check things. It's also possible that maybe the mayor doesn't care. I mean, I did mention earlier that the mayor, I would get back to him, but the point about the mayor is that he doesn't look to me like a guy who really and truly cares about this situation. He probably wants this entire situation to just go away. But as I mentioned earlier, this story does get crazier and crazier and crazier. And still, when I hear somebody say, well, we left our countries out of fear for our safety, but then you come to New York, you come across illegally, and New York, of course, is obviously a pretty dangerous place at this moment in time. It makes me question where your logic is at or your intentions. First off, I'm going to go ahead and say this, all right? Normally, I would take that last bit, and what I would do is I would rail about how it is that you actually don't have any rights because you're not a citizen. You're not really a nationalized citizen. You weren't born here, and you haven't gotten your legalization status or whatnot. So instead, I'm going to say something else. This situation, as I mentioned before, is a lot worse when you actually look into it because there's a lot more to this individual that was booted out of this hotel. And of course, the girl that was booted out, I don't know if she's actually connected in the sense of just being a common passerby migrant or what, but still, like I said, this situation, of course, at least as far as this guy is concerned, is obviously a much, much worse deal than originally anticipated. So I showed you guys the clip from CBS New York first, and of course, there's going to be another one to go along with it. That was roughly about 1 minute and 13 seconds, and you're probably thinking to yourself, these people are out of control. They're claiming that they have rights, when in reality, they do not have rights, but yet at the same time, they're also getting stuff stolen from them, which is obviously pretty screwed up, which, by the way, is something that many of us have alluded to on several occasions, because if you have people that are not really from the United States staying in places where there are people who are from the United States who may be, I don't know, showing you guys some photos here of some of the employees, may feel like their community is getting jilted, even though we don't have any proof. It would not be let's just say, it would not be above and beyond to suspect that maybe there is somebody or some group of people who have said, you know what, you people are here illegally. You people are getting $13,000 a month from the federal government. You're getting these debit cards. Quite frankly, you're getting benefits that, quite frankly, we don't want. We're obviously jealous of this. We can go in, we can raid your rooms, we can do anything and everything, and the cops won't do a single thing to stop us because the state of New York, not just the city of New York, but the state of New York, and obviously this is Yonkers, not NYC by address, they're probably thinking to themselves, there's not really a whole lot that the legal system can do because obviously the threshold for crimes has been changed so much to where we can pretty much get away with anything that we want, that even a good old-fashioned normie who, quite frankly, has no reason to commit a crime just may start committing crimes anyways. It's almost like the saying in the film Casino. If you ever saw it, there was an explanation from Joe Pesci where he was explaining that while trying to scam the casino, what the old crime bosses in Chicago did not seem to understand is that if you've got a guy who robs with you or steals with you, even if you take care of them all the way down to a T, at some point in time, they're probably going to steal from the scam because obviously nobody's paying too much attention. So obviously they're going to take what the hell it is that they think belongs to them or they can get a hold of. That right there is what this situation looks like on the surface. But let's continue.
Individuals that we're talking about and what's happening at the Ramada Inn appears to be limited to a few people who just frankly aren't happy with some of the rules.
Rules include no unsafe appliances like hot pots in the rooms. Police say officers responded to over 100 dispute calls at the shelter since last May when over 250 migrant families moved in. We're told no complaints of theft were made, but it's now being investigated.
We're not dealing with crime. We're dealing with disputes. We're trying to obviously diffuse disputes. There's a couple people that aren't happy with certain situations, certain rules.
We reached out to West Hab, the organization that runs this shelter. We were told no comment at this time. In Yonkers, Jennifer Biss.
Something else too, about this entire situation, and I have gotten to re-edit this in because I wanted to come back and touch on it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now I look at it and I'm like, you know what? This hotel's probably got a policy against like pots and pans and things that these people are bringing in, which, by the way, they're paying for with let's just say the U.S. taxpayer. And of course, there was also the situation, which I'm going to cover on Friday, where apparently some migrants got pissed off about Ramadan or the meals not being right for them. And of course, as I've said in previous videos, you're kind of getting food on the charity of these people. But then again, though, they did vote for it. So there is that. The point is this right here. The hotel would actually, depending on the policy, would be able to go in and investigate, and they would be able to take these things because you're not supposed to have them in the hotel. Basically, what's happening is that these people are cooking inside these hotels, and people are obviously complaining about it. I mean, I'm just saying that if you do that, chances are there's probably going to be some backlash from the hotel staff. Just saying. Go ahead and say it one more time. You don't have any rights. You don't have them. Okay. And the fact that people are stealing from you, while it is definitely screwed up, it should be expected because you're not here to make anybody's life better. And also something else too, those people who, let's just be honest, we all know who the hell's stealing. It's the hotel workers. Not trying to insinuate anything about a certain group or anything or a certain race. I'm not saying that at all. So YouTube, please don't nuke this channel in the Shadow Realm. I'm just saying it looks like it's pretty obvious that it's hotel workers and security guards and maybe even people within said the migrant community itself that are staying at said hotel. By the way, this is a hotel, not a shelter. And when you get to the point where people are complaining, it should become more and more apparent to you that maybe these people here are in fact the problem. But I'll explain that a little bit further on the other side of ABC7's reporting, because obviously CBS went out of their way to try to report these people in a more positive light than what they really and truly are. But let's roll some more of this.
Things got heated yesterday when they confronted hotel staff who they say have been mistreating the migrants and taking things from their rooms. Eyewitness News reporter Marcus Solis is in Yonkers this evening. Marcus?
Sandra, it was last May when the city of New York signed a contract to house 250 migrants here in Yonkers. In nearly the year since, tensions have been running high between the organization that oversees the shelter, West Hab, and the residents. The images are dramatic, the tension at a boiling point. Yonkers police arresting 2 migrants, one of them a woman who was pushed to the ground during a scuffle with officers. The incident occurred yesterday, but many of the asylum seekers say their frustration has been building for months. We escaped our countries because we weren't safe. Now we're not safe here, says this migrant from Venezuela, who's among the 82 families being housed at the Ramada Inn on Tuckahoe Road. Migrants first arrived at the location last May, welcomed with donations from nonprofit groups and Westchester residents. But in the months since, the asylum seekers say they've been harassed by social service administrators and intimidated by security guards they employ. The chief complaint is workers entering rooms without warning or with no one present. The occupants have been told the reason is to remove unsafe appliances like hot pots, which are not allowed. My iron, my hair dryer, things for work have disappeared, she says. But others claim money and jewelry have been stolen. They say their complaints are met with calls to the police. This clip, the asylum seekers themselves called 911, feeling threatened by a security guard walking through the parking lot holding a knife. Back up. Back up, please. Management called police on us today, saying we needed an appointment to visit.
Not today, not today. Whenever you get a chance, just call and I'll talk to you.
But I got you right here, so let me ask you.
Anyway,
you guys have to leave, okay? Social services at the Ramada are being coordinated by an organization called West Hab. The mayor of Yonkers says he's monitoring the situation.
As I've always said, I'm mad at those who brought the migrants to our community, but certainly would never treat the migrants with any less dignity than they deserve.
Yonkers police say there have been 120 calls to this location in the last year compared to 90 the year before that, and one officer suffered a minor injury during yesterday's arrest. We reached out to West Hab, the organization that manages the property. They did not return our call.
I didn't mention this earlier, but the mayor and the situation with the people who are apparently taking care of this, I'm going to talk more about that towards the end of the video, but I want to go ahead and say this right now. The migrants who are claiming that they are frustrated, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. And something else, too, is that this guy talks about, at some point in time, he talks about how it was that they left the country that they were from because they were in fear that they were going to, let's just say that he felt that they were in fear that they weren't safe where they were living at. But yet they come to New York, which is pretty daggone dangerous, and they expected to be safer. Very, very strange logic. I don't understand what these people are trying to get at with this, but still at the same time, like I said, once you get to the very, very end of this entire story, you'll see that it's obviously much, much deeper than you think. And obviously I'm taking a while to get there because obviously you guys have got to see the setup that eventually led to the overall outcome and how screwed up this entire situation is. So basically what's going on here is that these migrants are frustrated about the fact that, like I said, that people are stealing from them. They've been there for months. And of course they haven't even... How do I say they haven't even begun to look at those who are staying with them. They're also not looking at the possibility that people who go in and out of the hotel could have possibly done as well. Remember, it's a hotel. The most that people stay at a hotel is what, 24 hours a day, maybe 36 hours. Occasionally you'll get 2 days at a hotel. Occasionally people stay at 3 days at a hotel. And I'm not saying this to insult Ramada. Ramada typically has nice hotels, but typically when you go somewhere like, say, the Ramada, you typically only tend to stay there maybe a day or two. It's typically a short trip. Then again, there are times where people are looking at little tiny vacations that are kind of budgety, but still the point is this right here. It's pretty obvious that these people has been here for a while, and obviously having stuff stolen from them was very, very much a risk that was going to happen. And of course, the hotel staff that's doing this more than likely are the ones who are actually doing said crime. But about the people who've been staying in and out of the hotel, well, the people who've been staying in and out of the hotel, they've been complaining about the migrants, especially these people in particular. They got pulled out, being a little bit noisy and a little bit disorderly. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I take a trip, even if I'm staying like on a business trip and I spend a day in a hotel, I want to like just go to bed, a lot of people don't go to hotels so that way they can just sit there all day and enjoy the hotel. I mean, unless, of course, you've got like a nice swimming pool with jacuzzi set up or whatnot, which this place does not look like it does. Who the hell knows? It could be an indoor setup, but still at the same time, typically a hotel is there for one reason and one reason only. You go in there, you bed down, you get up, you take a shower, you eat the continental breakfast, and you get the hell out. Or you go do what it is that you got to do, and you come back to the hotel later on. The hotel is not designed to be stayed in all day and all night. So most of the people who are obviously going in or staying in the hotel are just there to just bed down and go to bed. That's what the hell they're there for, and they don't want to be bothered while they're inside the hotel. Now, I understand it's a risk that you take when you stay inside of a hotel, but still the point is this right here. The last thing you want to deal with is drunken, disorderly, crazy people. And I get the security guard factor, but still, with the security guards walking around with knives and stuff, I'm pretty sure at some point in time, this right here, as I said before, was eventually going to happen because people were eventually going to get jealous of said situations. And in some cases, they may even use the very, very lax laws in New York State to take advantage of this. I said before that this story did make it national. It got to Fox News, which we'll get to here in a second. But the thing you got to understand is this right here. And I said this before. I don't think the mayor really cares, and I don't think the company that's handling this actually cares. We reached out to them. They did not reach back. Now, it could just be somebody not actually calling. It could also be somebody saying, screw the press, I don't want to deal with this. Or it could be somebody saying, this is bad press, we're going to walk away. But given the fact that the city of New York has already got its own problems when it comes to migrants, and of course you've got Mayor Eric Adams saying, you need to give us more money to take care of this, and yet you've also got the Biden administration handing out more and more money, and now you've got people claiming they had $600 stolen. It makes you wonder that it could be possible that the company handling this, as well as the city of Yonkers, has just said, we don't want this problem anymore, send them right back to New York City. There was also a clip that came out the other day. I think it was Denver, Colorado's mayor. I did not put it in this video here, but I'm going to link it in the description box where the mayor is basically saying, look, you guys need to get the hell out of Denver and go somewhere else like, say, Chicago or New York or Boston. Of course, at some point in time, people in Chicago are going to say, you guys got to get the hell out and go to Seattle. By the way, Seattle is probably one of the most progressive cities in the country. So is the city of Portland, Oregon. So is San Francisco. And yet we have not had any actual news about the migrant crisis and those situations there. It seems to me like it's very, very possible that very, very blue, progressive, liberal cities could start warring against one another rather than warring against what they view to be the evil right wing. Them calling me evil and right wing, I take that as a bit of a compliment because obviously I am a bit of a conservative. But like I said before, though, the situation eventually got to national news, and what the hell is it?
Mob of migrants scuffling with New York City cops at a hotel shelter north of Manhattan.
This, as more than 40,000 Chinese nationals have been apprehended since our fiscal year began in October.
Who else is worried about this? Todd Pyro has the details. Todd.
Unreal, guys. Good morning to all four of you. Newly released body cam footage showing a group of rowdy migrants in Yonkers scuffling with police officers. Cops called to the hotel on Tuesday after workers said there was an out-of-control guest. While officers were arresting the suspect, 35-year-old Arnold Kent and others confronted them. While they tried to leave, they say a 24-year-old suspect then pushed the officers and blocked the door to the cop car. She reportedly fought the cops while they cuffed her. She is being charged with second-degree assault, obstruction of governmental administration, and resisting arrest. Kent was released without bail and is charged with menacing, disorderly conduct, and obstructing governmental administration. Meantime, new CBP data shows that there have been more than 46,000 Chinese nationals since the start of the fiscal 2023 fiscal year. Sources telling Fox News that a large majority of them are released into the U.S. and have not been deported or removed. Back over to you.
Figure that the 46,000 Chinese nationals would be the much bigger story. You would figure that, but even Fox News, Fox News is the only one who mentioned it because CNN, they obviously didn't want to mention it. And by the way, I said this right before, there's a video that I did on Gear Issue 33 that I'm probably going to revisit on that channel there because obviously I'm going to talk about, or I may even bring on this channel here because I did say that I was going to bring some topics from Gear Issue 33 over here because I was turning that channel to a military film reviews and military history channel. And don't worry, I'll leave a couple of videos in the comment section. But I talked about the Red Dawn scenario. If you remember the movie Red Dawn, you probably remember the sequence where Andrew Tanner explained how it was they were able to pull that off. Now, granted, it's unrealistic. It's not a true story. But, of course, in unrealistic terms, it's only unrealistic for film purposes. But if you keep allowing Chinese nationals and military-aged males into the nation, after a while, people are going to get very bad ideas. And, of course, these people don't plan on assimilating with American society. They really and truly don't care. So when you see this very next clip and you hear Brian Kilmeade run his mouth or say what he's about to say that you're going to hear, chances are it's a lot more people in this country who have the same feeling as Brian Kilmeade, regardless of whether they are Republican or Democrat or whether they're on the right or if they are on the left. But pay very close attention, especially to the very end.
In the New York City area of migrants illegally in the country that were giving, what was it, Brian, $1,200 in credit cards, little debit cards to
free
eat.
Shelter.
Free shelter.
Yeah, $350
taking over the shelter that was for the seniors in Harlem, and now they're assaulting the cops. And by the way, it wasn't just the assault of the cops, it's the fact that all the other migrants start to crowd the cops and get involved. All of them should be arrested as well.
They all got to be tossed.
Yeah.
Right there, you have reason. Just toss them all out. They obviously don't care about our system. They're not here for a better life. They're here to ruin ours. Well, that guy right there who is going into the car, he was taken down to the cop shop and he was released.
Obviously, they're not here to make our lives better, but still, one final thing.
Who is going into the car, he was taken down to the cop shop and he was released. Just as everybody does. However, the woman who you can see in the background, I believe that's her, who was trying to impede the cops from putting him in the car, she's been charged with, attempted assault or something like that. Anyway, she's in jail now, waiting for somebody to bail her out for $500.
People in the shelter were saying tensions with this individual were at a boiling point for a while. Exactly. There's also this illegal in custody cross the river on a jet ski, and records reveal that he's wanted in Florida for sexual assault on a child molestation, sexual battery on a child, and crossed the river, was picked up by human smugglers. Thank goodness the Texas troopers and the RGV Border Patrol nabbed that individual.
He's wanted in the state of Florida for a certain type of offense that I can't really say out loud here on YouTube because of violation of terms of services. It's not just random people coming over. It's people with criminal records. It's people who come over here to actually get in trouble, and then they turn right back around after they've been caught or after they've been busted, and they play the victim card. Go back to what that guy said at the very beginning. I'm tired of having my rights invaded. Dude, you have no rights. You have no rights in the U.S. You are not a citizen. You were not naturally born here. You have no rights. But I'm pretty sure in the next few weeks, you're probably going to get some more of these stories that are going to make national news. And I can tell you right now, the current administration is going to go out of their way to say these people have rights, even though these people are not actual citizens of this country. Go ahead and get ready because the racist, xenophobic nonsense is coming up again. I'm pretty sure I'll get hit with it with a comment on this video here. But the point is this right here. This is who the Biden administration is letting in. They're letting in criminals. They're letting in people who, quite frankly, are going to commit crimes and then turn right back around and use the very lax laws of this nation under the Biden administration and these very blue areas against the American people. I've already done videos on the Venezuelan gang issue that's going to be a problem here in the United States. I've already done a video on that, done several videos on this. And also something else, too. It's pretty obvious who the hell is actually stealing the stuff that's inside the place. And I already kind of broke that down earlier, why that's the case. It's about to get crazy. Now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put an end to this video here, but before I put an end to it, I just want you to go ahead and know that Thursday is going to be, once again, a relatively lengthy video, a lot like what Tuesday's was, but it's going to be about the situation. It's going to be kind of the follow-up that came out on Monday evening that I posted about the situation involving Iran and Israel and what happened over the weekend. I'm going to be talking about more from the political perspective and what to expect on Thursday. The previous video was more of an explanation of what happened, but I'll be having that video coming out on Thursday. And I've also got another project to put out on Gear Issue 33 that will be on the film The Beast of War. I'll try to link a couple of videos in the description box in the comment section for you guys, so that way you guys can catch up and kind of, subscribe over there. Also, make sure you guys check out that content, especially the video I recently did on the film Zulu and Zulu Dawn. With that being said, guys, please tell me what you think in the comment section. I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on this. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.